A General Dictionary of the English Language. By Samuel Johnson. Master of Arts.
First published in 1755, in 2 volumes.
Letter A. From abide, to abjuration. To abide. Verb neuter. I abode, or abid. From Bidian, or Abidian, Saxon. 1. To dwell in a place, not remove.
Thy servant became surety for the lad unto my father.
Saying, if I bring him, not unto thee.
Then I shall bear the blame to my father forever.
Now therefore, I pray thee.
Let thy servant abide, instead of the lad, a bondman to my lord.
And let the lad go up with his brethren. Genesis, chapter 44, verses 32, 33. 2. To dwell.
The Marquis Dorset, as I hear, is fled to Richmond, in the parts where he abides.
William Shakespeare, Richard III. 3. To remain, not cease or fail.
They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever.
Psalm, chapter 125, verse 1. 4. To continue, in the same state.
The fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that hath it shall abide satisfied.
Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 23.
Those who apply themselves to learning are forced to acknowledge one God,
incorruptible and unbegotten,
who is the only true being, and abides forever. Above the highest heavens, from whence he beholds all the things that are done in heaven and earth.
Stillingfleet. Defensive Discourse on Roman Idolatry. There can be no study without time,
and the mind must abide and dwell upon things, or be always a stranger to the inside of them.
Robert South. 5. To wait for. Expect, attend, wait upon, await.
Used of things, prepared for persons, as well as of persons expecting things. Home is, he brought, and laid in sumptuous bed, where many skillful leeches him abide, to salve his hurts.
Faerie Queene, Book 1, Canto 5, stanza 17.
While lions war, and battle for their dens,
poor harmless lambs abide their enmity. William Shakespeare, Henry VI, Part 3. Bonds and afflictions abide me. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 20, verse 23. 6.
To bear, or support, the consequences of a thing.
Ah me! They little know
how dearly I abide that boast, so vain. John Milton's Paradise Lost, Book 4, line 87.
7.
To bear, or support,
without being conquered, or destroyed.
But the Lord he is, the true God. He is the living God, and an everlasting King. At his wrath, the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation.
Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 10.
It must be allowed of fair presumption, in favor of the truth of my doctrines, that they have a bid, a very rigorous test now.
For above 30 years, stand yet firm.
And the longer and more strictly they are looked into, the more they are confirmed to this very day.
William Woodward, Letter 1. 8.
To bear, without aversion.
In which sense?
It is commonly used with a negative.
Thou canst not abide Tiridates.
This is but love of thyself.
Philip Sidney, Book 2.
Thy vile race,
though thou didst learn, had that in it,
which good natures
could not abide to be with.
Therefore wast thou
deservedly confined into this rock.
William Shakespeare, The Tempest.
9.
To bear, or suffer. That chief, rejoined the god, his race derives
from Ithaca, and wondrous woes survives. Laertes' son. girt with circumfluous tides. He still calamitous, constraint abides. Alexander Pope's Odyssey, Book 4, line 750. 10. It is used with the particle, with before a person. And at, or in, before a place. It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. Genesis, chapter 39, verse 19. For thy servant vowed a vow, while I abode at Geshur, in Syria, saying, If the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. Second Book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 8. 11. It is used with by before a thing. As, to abide by his testimony. To abide by his own skill. That is, to rely upon them. To abide by an opinion. To maintain it. To abide by a man. Is also, to defend, or support him. But these forms are something low. Of the participle, abid. I have found only the example in Woodward. Abider. Noun substantive. From abide. The person that abides or dwells in a place. Perhaps that lives or endures. A word little in use. Abiding. Noun substantive. From abide. Continuance. We are strangers before thee, and sojourners. As were all our fathers. Our days on the earth are as a shadow, and there is none abiding. First Book of Chronicles, chapter 29, verse 15. The air in that region is so violently removed, and carried about with such swiftness, as nothing in that place can consist or have abiding. Sir Walter Raleigh's History of the World. Abject. Adjective. Abjectus, Latin. Thrown away, as of no value. 1. Mean, or worthless, spoken of persons. That rebellion came like itself, in base and abject routes. Led on by bloody youth, goaded with rage, and countenanced by boys and beggary. William Shakespeare, Henry IV. Honest men, who tell their sovereigns what they expect from them, and what obedience they shall be always ready to pay them, are not upon an equal foot with such base and abject flatterers, and are therefore always in danger of being the last in the royal favor. Joseph Addison's Whig Examiner. 2. Contemptible, or of no value. Used of things. I was at first, as other beasts, that graze the trodden herb of abject thoughts, and lo. John Milton, Paradise Lost, Book 9, line 571. 3. Without hope, or regard. Used of condition. The rarer thy example stands. By how much from the top of wondrous glory, strongest of mortal men, to lowest pitch of abject fortune thou art fallen. John Milton's Samson Agonists. We see man and woman in the highest innocence and perfection, and in the most abject state of guilt and infirmity. Joseph Addison, Spectator, number 273. 4. Destitute, mean and despicable. Used of actions. To what base ends, and by what abject ways, are mortals urged through sacred lust of praise. Alexander Pope's Essay on Criticism. The rapine is so abject and profane, they not from trifles, nor from God's refrain. John Dryden's Juvenal, Satire 8. Abject. Noun substantive. A man without hope. A man whose miseries are irretrievable. But in mine adversity, they rejoiced, and gathered themselves together. Yeah, the abjects gathered themselves together against me. And I knew it not, they did tear me, and ceased not. Psalms, chapter 35, verse 15. To abject. Verb active. Abjitio, Latin. To throw away. A word rarely used. Abjectness. Noun substantive. From abject. The state of an abject. He would love at no less rate than death. And, from the supereminent height of glory, stooped and abased himself to the sufferance of the extremest indignities, and sunk himself to the bottom of abjectness, to exalt our condition to the contrary extreme. Robert Boyle's Works. Abjection. Noun substantive. From abject. Meanness of mind, want of spirit, servility, baseness. That this should be termed baseness. Abjection of mind, or servility, is it credible? Richard Hooker, Book 5, Section 47. Now, the just medium of this case lies betwixt the pride and the abjection, the two extremes. Ella Strange. Abjectly. Adverb. From abject. In an abject manner, meanly, basely, servilely, contemptibly. Abjectness. Noun substantive. From abject. The same with abjection, servility, meanness. Servility and abjectness of humor is implicitly involved in the charge of lying. The condescending to that being a mark of a disingenuous spirit. Government of the Tongue, Section 8. By humility, I mean not the abjectness of a base mind, but a prudent care not to overvalue ourselves upon any account. Nehemiah Gruss, Cosmologia Sacra, Book 2, Chapter 7. Ability. Noun substantive. Habilite, French. 1. The power to do anything, whether depending upon skill or riches, or strength or any other quality. Of singing thou hast got the reputation. Good Thyrsis, mine. I yield to thy ability. My heart doth seek another estimation. Philip Sidney, Book 1. If aught, in my ability, may serve to heighten what thou sufferest and appease thy mind with, what amends is in my power. John Milton's Samson Agonists, line 744. They gave after their ability unto the treasure of the work. Ezra, chapter 2, verse 69. If any man minister, let him do it, as of the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ. First Epistle of Peter, chapter 4, verse 11. 2. Capacity. Children in whom there was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace. Daniel, chapter 1, verse 4. 3. When it has the plural number, abilities, it frequently signifies the faculties or powers of the mind, and sometimes the force of understanding given by nature, as distinguished from acquired qualifications. Wherever we find our abilities too weak for the performance, he assures us of the assistance of his Holy Spirit. John Rogers's Sermons. Whether it may be thought necessary that, in certain tracts of country, like what we call parishes, there should be one man, at least, of abilities to read and write. Jonathan Swift, Arguments Against Abolishing Christianity. Abintestate. Adjective. Of. From, and intestatus, Latin. A term of law, implying him that inherits from a man who, though he had the power to make a will, yet did not make it. To abjugate. Verb active. Abjugo, Latin. To unyoke, to uncouple. Dictionary. To abjure. Verb active. Abjuro, Latin. 1. To cast off, upon oath. To swear not to do something, either to die the death or to abjure. forever, the society of man.
William Shakespeare, A Midsummer Night's Dream. No man, therefore, that hath not abjured his reason,
and sworn allegiance to a preconceived fantastical hypothesis, can undertake the defense of such a supposition.
Matthew Hales, The Origin of Mankind.
2. To retract, or recant, or abnegate. A position upon oath. Abjuration. Noun substantive. From abjure. The act of abjuring. The oath taken for that end. Until Henry VIII, his time. If a man, having committed felony,
could go into a church, or churchyard,
before he were
apprehended,
he might not be taken
from thence to the usual trial of law,
but confessing his fault to the justices, or to the coroner, gave his oath
to forsake the realm forever,
which was called abjuration. There are some abjurations still in force among us, here in England.
As, by the statute of the 25th of King Charles II,
all persons that are admitted into any office, civil or military, must take the test, which is an abjuration of some doctrines of the Church of Rome.
There is likewise another oath of abjuration,
which laymen and clergymen are both obliged to take,
and that is, to abjure the pretender.
John Alepht's Paragon Juris Canonici. Next page begins with to ablactate. Original source text is in the public domain. This audio recording, including AI-assisted narration, restoration, and editorial structure, is copyrighted 2026 by Muse of Folios. All rights reserved. To abide. To abide. To abide. Abider. 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 Abiding. 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 Abject. 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 Abjectness. 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 Abjection. 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 Abjectly. 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 Abjectness. 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 Ability. 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 Abintastate. 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 To abjugate. To abjugate. To abjugate. To abjure. To abjure. To abjure. Abjuration. Abjuration. Abjuration.